everyone, and welcome to the Knitting Pastor Podcast. I'm your host, Heather, and today is a Friday, February 16th. It's 2 days after Valentine's Day. I hope everyone had a really nice holiday if you chose to celebrate that. I personally do not like Valentine's Day at all, so I try to kind of avoid it as much as possible. However, David did some nice things for me and the kids, and so that was really, really quite nice to have that. I'm already on a tangent, and I haven't even started yet. So I am a United Methodist pastor serving 2 rural churches in mid-Michigan, and I live near one of those churches in a parsonage, which is a house provided by the church, with my 2 kids, Abby and Philip, and our Rhodesian Ridgeback, Flint. So I want to say welcome to all of those first-time viewers who are coming and checking me out for the first time. I hope that you like what you see. If you don't, there's so many knitting podcasts out there. I hope that you can find something that you do like, so feel free to move on. You don't need to hang around and listen to me if this isn't your cup of tea. For all of my returning viewers, I want to say welcome back and thank you so much to everyone for taking time out of your very busy schedules to spend some time to hang out and to chat with me about knitting and other things going on in my life. So you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry, and you can find my names for both of those down below. They're heatheredknitz on both places. One is with a Z, one is with an S, but those will be in the down bar below, so feel free to follow me in both of those places. I do want to say that I am working on, or I'm planning on reactivating the Ravelry group and kind of getting that back up and going again so that there's a place that people can chat if they so wish, and to join that if they would like to do that. So that will be forthcoming. Watch this area and I will let you know if and when that happens. I will say that unfortunately, due to a very, very busy schedule that I have stopped doing show notes because I just don't have a ton of spare time, and I would much rather be able to podcast and just get that out to you guys rather than spend my time writing show notes and maybe not being able to podcast as often because I just don't have a lot of spare time. However, if you do have any questions regarding any of the patterns, yarn, anything that I talk about, feel free to either leave a comment below or send me a message on Instagram and Ravelry, and I will be happy to answer your question or help you out in whatever way I can. Do check out my Ravelry page though. I do try to keep all of my projects pretty well updated with, yarn and any notes that I have or anything like that. So that's a good reference place to check things out if you have questions about patterns or something along those lines. So I don't think I have any other businessy kind of stuff. I'll just jump right into the knitting content of the podcast. So on to the knitting content of today's podcast. I do have a finished object this time around, so I am pretty happy about that, although there is going to be a story behind these. And I did finish the first pattern in Mina Phillip, who is the knitting expat, her Wanderlust collection sock club. I finished the first pair of socks, which are the Resferber socks, and these are the socks. Now, if you look at them closely, you may notice that the toes are a little bit different. But you may not notice because it is not horrifically noticeable from this far away. But I will take this one and I will show you. So I am knitting away on these socks, knit, knit, knit. And I knew that I didn't have a ton of yarn, but I thought that I had enough to do the socks. Nope. I was wrong and I ran out. So the yarn that I started using, which is this yarn up here, so this is just to give you an idea of the detail of the pattern. So the yarn I started off using was Knit Picks Hawthorne, and I found the colorway because as I ran out of this yarn and I was trying to figure out what in the world I was going to do, I happened to notice that I had stashed this on Ravelry. I have not done that, and I can't tell you how long. The colorway is Beaumont, but it is discontinued, so I couldn't just order more. So I was like, crap, what am I going to do? Because I still had a couple repeats from the toe. And if you watched my vlogcast last week, you'll see that I kind of addressed this problem there. So I didn't know what I was going to do. Well, I happened to, when I was playing around dyeing yarn, happened to dye some yarn that was kind of red and yellow with a little bit of orange. And I had just enough to do this part of the sock. And really, you can tell that it changes, but it isn't like super, super different. And it even does like a little like micro striping thing happening. So yes, you can tell that there is a difference, but the socks are done. I was not going to rip back both of these socks just for this little bit of toe of, I had like, this much foot left and then the toe. So that's what I did. I went with it. I'm okay with it. They're not the most beautiful socks, but it works. They're done, which is also my first pair of finished socks that I started and finished in 2018. So these would count for the box of socks cal. And these go towards my Make 9 because I want to complete both of Mina's sock club patterns collections in 2018. So these count for that. I knit these on Knit Pro Zing's DPNs, double pointed needles. US 1.5, 2.5 millimeter needles, which are my go-to sock needle of choice. And I always do 64 stitches around because that is the best fit for my foot. I did do a Fish Lips Kiss heel because that's a heel that I have memorized and I can just whip that heel off without even thinking about it now. And it's kind of nice to be able to do that with a heel. So I'm happy to have those done. They fit really nicely. And yeah, so those are going to get tucked away happily into Box of Socks 2018. And yeah, that's the only finished object I have for this time around. But I was happy to just have that and to feel like I'm making some progress and getting some projects done, because there was a while where I just felt like I was just knitting and nothing was happening and I wasn't getting anything done. So it's nice to have something done, for sure. So moving along on to works in progress, and so things that are on my needles. The first one that I'm going to show you is my sweater, which is living happily in my Needles Up tote bag because it is a bulky weight sweater. I did not go to Needles Up, but I wanted to support Sue and Chelsea, and I thought the bag was really cute, and it's a really nice big tote bag and holds a sweater very, very well, a bulky weight sweater no less. So this is the Oxbow cardigan by Andrea Mowry, and it is in the pattern book A Sense of Place, and it is a bulky weight sweater. And I am happy to report, guys, that I have the body and the sleeves totally done. Look at this. All I have left now is to pick up and knit the neckband, which is like a shawl neckband, and the button band, and then, close up under the arms, and this will be done. So I'm really thinking that the next time I podcast, this sweater will totally be done, and I'm super happy about it. I'm really happy with how it has turned out. Let me just show you kind of what the texture of this looks like. Ooh, it's getting blown out really there. So that's the texture, and that's a pretty good color representation too. The yarn is Brooklyn Tweed Cori, which is 100% Targhee wool. I really have enjoyed working with this yarn a lot. feels very rustic, but it still has like a nice soft texture to it, and it's not super scratchy or itchy. It's really weird because I've tried this on, and I think because of it fits me well. Obviously with things blocking and stuff like that and getting the button band on, everything will finish out laying more nicely. So it does fit me well. It's a nice length. The sleeves are a good length. I did drop a stitch apparently that I need to deal with later. So yeah, I'm really, really pleased in how this is knitting up. So I'm hoping maybe later today I can pick up the stitches to do the band, the button band and the collar, and get this done and wearable before it warms up and it's not going to be wearable. But it's still February and it's still Michigan, and weather still gets bad late in Michigan. So I'm looking forward to this. And this is also one of my Make 9. If you don't know what I'm talking about with Make 9, if you go and back, not the previous vlog that I did, but the one before that, is where I discuss my Make 9, which are just 9 projects that you want to complete in the year. And this is one of mine, as well as the sock collections, which is a little bit cheating because it's more than one pattern, but I want to do the whole collection. So if you want to go back and see what those are, go ahead and take a look back at that vlog and check that out. I will link it down below as well so you can find that video easily. Continuing on with what is on my needles is another pair of socks, because one must always have socks on the needles. And this is living in my little Foxy drawstring bag, which is from Chicken Soup Designs. And this is the first pair of socks in Mina Phillips, the Knitting Expat, her cozy collection. And this is a little bit more for intermediate knitters, not necessarily beginning patterns. The techniques are more than just like a yarn over or a knit purl. So they have some more interesting techniques. And these are the warm and snug socks, I think. Yes, warm and snug socks. And so this is how they are looking so far. It's a very interesting technique that creates these like welts, and they're just on the leg. She doesn't have them on the foot because they are like, can see like ridges, and it might be kind of weird in the shoe itself. So these are knitting up pretty quickly. This part took some getting used to for me and like figuring out exactly how to do it, but once I got it, it went a lot more smoothly. And I've done the heel, and now I'm working on the foot. These are very pastel-y, which is totally out of my color comfort zone palette. Abby thinks they look kind of like baby socks, but to me they're kind of Eastery, which goes pretty well because it is Lent now and we are getting ready in the church to come into Easter, and Easter is like super early this year. So these are, they're going to be kind of Eastery for me and feel springy, which when you live in the north and it's February, springy things are good because you're getting really tired of the snow and the cold and the winter. So things that make you feel happier and lighter and springier, they're good things. So the yarn that I'm using, this pattern is designed with self-striping yarn in mind. And so since I have like a bajillion balls of Felici, I decided I was going to use up some Felici. And so this is the soft serve colorway. That's the self-striping part. And then for the heels, cuffs, and toes, this is Hedgehog Fibers. There's the sock base. And I think the colorway is Boombox. This is left over from my my What the Fade shawl. I have like there were 6 different colorways, skeins that I used, and obnoxiously I have like 40 grams left in like 4 of them. And 40 grams is kind of an obnoxious amount of yarn left because I can't do a pair of socks with 40 grams, even doing contrasting heels, cuffs, and toes. I guess I could do shorties. So I can't do socks with them. it's just kind of an obnoxious amount of yarn. So I decided to use it for heels, cuffs, and toes in this because it did go really nicely with this. This is what it looks like skeined. It's just a really kind of pretty pastel-y, again, not really in my comfort zone, skein, and it does have like flecks of black in there as well, which makes it kind of interesting. So this is the first sock. It's coming along very, very quickly. I just started this like Tuesday or something like that. I don't remember what day, but it's knit up pretty fast. And now I'm on to the foot, which is just all stockinette for the foot. So that should go really quickly as well. And then I can get on to the second sock. But yeah, these are really fun. This is a really neat technique and pattern. And I just think it's really, really quite cool the way this is shaping up. So these are, like I said, the Warm and Snug socks from Nina Phillips' Cozy Collection. Again, I'm knitting these on my Knit Pro Zings DPNs, 1.5 US, 2.5 millimeter needles, and these are quickly becoming my sock needle of choice. I am on a DPN kick lately. I'm not sure what it is. I think some of the fiddliness with the cords for Magic Loop are just bugging me lately, and the DPNs I'm feeling it, and I like the tips, which are kind of funny. If I can get it to focus. They're not totally pointy. They're like flattened off, but it creates this nice little like lip to get in the yarn, but yet you don't split the yarn. They're probably not for everyone, but I'm really liking them a lot. So these are what I'm knitting. These are my, mood for sock needles. So yeah, so this is my other work in progress that I have going, and again, enjoying these a lot. Because one must always have socks on the needles because you can't take a bulky weight sweater with you places to knit. It just doesn't work at all. So I thought that since I don't have a ton of content for you this time around, that I would show you the 2 scrappy blanket projects that I have been working on, because I have given them a bit of love lately, and they have grown. And so I thought I would just show those off, and you can see how things are coming along with these. The first one is the knit one, and it's the Cozy Memory Blanket, which lots of people have knit. It's a free pattern. I'm forgetting by who right now, but if you search for it on Ravelry, you should be able to find it. Basically, it's just a mitered square blanket, and this is with fingering weight yarn, and it's to use up all of those little scraps that are left. My squares are about 5 grams or about 20 yards of yarn that I'm doing. So this is it so far. It's going to show you. It's hard to show this, but I'm doing like the step ladder kind of approach, which makes it grow in ways that it's manageable, so you don't have like this long stretch. It works for me. But yeah, this is the first square that I started with, and then it's just kind of grown from there. I'm not gonna name all of the yarns that I've put in here because that would be way too many. But this is the yarn that I finished my socks with. I had already put the square in, and I was like, uh-oh, I really hope I don't have to rip this square out to finish these socks. So I was bound and determined that I was finishing these socks. But this is what that yarn that I dyed looks like. So yeah, so I've just kind of been adding things, and there's lots of fun stuff. I've got lots of self-striping in there, speckled, some tonals. Yeah, so this has been getting quite a bit of love. I put in like 4 squares this past Sunday because we got, if you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen we got like 8 inches of snow. And as I've mentioned, I live in a rural area, and By rural, I mean I have to drive 20 minutes to get to the grocery store. The town that I live in has a gas station and a library, and that's pretty much it. Oh wait, there's a furniture store, but there's no grocery store, there's no pharmacy, there's not really much. So we're very rural. And my other church, so that's my second service, is here in this little town. My first church service that I have is not in a town. It's at the intersection of two roads, and around it are farming fields and a lot of Amish, because there's a large Amish population in that area as well. So it's very much a farming area, and there's no freeway that runs by out here. So when we get snow, it takes some time for plows to make it out this way. So Sunday morning, when I was getting ready to go to my church that's in the country, I got a call from one of my parishioners at the church here in town. I was like, I'm not sure about church. And I was like, there's a lot of snow. And he's like, I'm wondering if we should maybe call this off. And I'm like, well, we have a large percentage of the congregation is elderly. I think we should do that. Because I didn't want any of those people to come out and like fall and hurt themselves or try to drive and get stuck, because it was bad. But I was going to try and make it down to my other church because we hadn't really decided we were going to cancel it. So I started to drive. And I've mentioned it before, but I'll mention it again. I drive a Chevy Cruze hatchback, which is not a big car by any stretch of the imagination. It's not big. It's perfect for us. It gets great gas mileage for me. I absolutely love it, but it's not a big car. So I had one of my parishioners from my other church texting me saying that he would come pick me up because he has a 4-wheel drive truck and there was that much snow on the ground. I was like, well, no, I'm going to try and make it because it does okay in the snow. So we start driving down there and the roads haven't been plowed and there's 8 inches of snow and I am plowing the roads. So I made it like not very far. And I called him and I said, I'm thinking we should probably cancel church because a lot of those people are farmers and they live on unpaved roads. And if the paved roads haven't been plowed, certainly the dirt roads haven't either. And there are quite a few elderly people in that congregation as well. And I just thought, I hate to do it, but to be safe, I think that we need to cancel church. So we did. And since I didn't have church and I didn't have anywhere to be until later that afternoon, I put like 4 squares in my my cozy memory blanket because I was tired and kind of ramped up from the snow and I needed to just kind of unwind from that. And I thought, I'm gonna relax a little and do this. So I did that. So that's why that's gotten so much love. My other scrappy project that I've been working on, and I kind of work on this a little bit on the weekends, not a ton, but just a little bit to keep it going, and that is the granny stripe crochet blanket that a lot of people have also been working on. So I'll just kind of show you that this has grown as well. It's getting more, it's like a wide scarf now and not a tapeworm. So this is very, very wide. It's wide enough to go over a queen-sized bed. So let me just show you it in bits and pieces. So this is one side. Next. And then the end. So this is a lot of fun. This makes me think of my grandma who would always crochet. So it makes me think of her, and so it's nice to work on and think about her. So I've been working on that a lot. So you can see since the last time I showed you guys, which is here at this little dog bone, how much I've done. So I'm working on this pretty consistently. The way that I am doing this is pretty much I'm making magic knot balls, which is just any amount of leftover yarn that I have, well, if it's around 10 grams or less, I don't want anything over than that, because then it starts to get too, like, there's too much of the same color together, because it'll do more than one row or almost 2 rows, and I don't really want that. So I just tie it into my magic knot ball, and I make these big balls of yarn, and I crochet off of that, and I just crochet until I run out of that color and the next one begins. So there is really no rhyme or reason to how these stripes are coming together or anything like that. So I like it. I like the kind of craziness of it. And yeah. So that is the crochet granny stripe blanket. That's my other scrappy project that I have been working on and making a dent in. And that is pretty much going to wrap it up for all of the knitting stuff. I have not bought any yarn or had any yarn come in the mail. The only yarn that I really have is from Molly of a Homespun House, her Harry Potter Club, and I won't be getting any of that probably. It'll maybe by next time I podcast, I might have the next skein of that. But yeah, I've been good. I have not bought yarn, so I'm very proud of myself for going through this whole time and buying no yarn. Go me. And yeah, so I don't have anything new that I've gotten or to add. So that's, like I said, that's all I've got for the knitting stuff. If that's all you are interested in, thank you so much for hanging out with me and listening to me babble about what I have been working on with Yarny Goodness. If you are interested, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's been going on in my life as a church and just kind of my life in general. So that part is going to be coming up next. So stick around for that if you so wish. So on to non-knitting related stuff and just kind of lifey things. I have not been watching any shows because Olympics. It's the Winter Olympics, and I love the Olympics. I know it's crazy. I love them. I've got like the live streaming going, and I'm watching like entire events of the events that I love. I love the luge. I love skiing. Those have been, ski jumping, because they're like flying, and that's amazing. So, those are the events that I've really been spending a lot of time watching. I like the luge, the skeleton, the bobsled. I so want to luge. I think that would be so much fun. Really scary, but so much fun. So I've pretty much been watching the Olympics. I am woefully behind on my podcasts because, again, Olympics. What else would I be watching? Because I like that. I do the same thing with the Summer Olympics. It might be worse in the summer because there's more that I like and they're bigger. But so that's what I have been doing when I've been knitting, is watching the Olympics and cheering for Team USA and Team Canada, and just cheering for everybody, because let's be honest, it's the Olympics and those people have worked really, really hard to get there, and they deserve to be supported. And it's a good unifying thing for the world too, I think, to kind of come together a little bit and maybe forget about some of the political stuff that's going on in the world, because let's be honest, we need to forget about that sometimes. Not ignore it, but sometimes we need to let go of that and just remember that we are all human and we are all deserving of love and respect and support, and to not be judged, basically. So that's what I have been watching, is a lot of Olympic coverage. Once the Olympics are over, I will go back to watching some stuff on Netflix and getting caught back up on podcasts, because the Olympics only come once every 2 years, because they're offset, but I really like it. Call me goofy, call me crazy. I really like the Olympics. What can I say? I don't know. As far as my life as a pastor, it is now the season of Lent which is a season of preparation leading up to Easter, which for those of you who are not of the Christian faith, Easter is kind of our ultimate high holy holiday. It's the most important day of the Christian calendar, which represents the resurrection of Christ, which is kind of a big deal if you're a Christian. It's kind of the cornerstone of the faith. So Lent is a period of preparation leading up to that. And the very thing that kicks off Lent is Ash Wednesday, which was this past Wednesday, also Valentine's Day. And so I did have a service for that, which was my first time doing Ash Wednesday service. And one of the traditions of an Ash Wednesday service is, you will have seen pictures of this, is the ash cross on the forehead. That's one of the traditions to kind of remind you of your mortality, and also signifying of the new life that is to come through your belief in God and Christ. So that's kind of a little bit of the theology of Ash Wednesday in a nutshell. So we celebrated that. I'm not sure celebrate's the right word for that, but we had that service, and that went pretty well. I was happy. A friend of mine from my home church happened to be in the area and came to my Ash Wednesday service, so I got to see them a little bit, and that was really kind of fun and exciting to see them there, and that was really nice. And it went well, and now we are into Lent, and I am going to be doing just a really informal study for Lent, where we're just going to kind of sit and talk about what I have preached on the previous Sunday, or the scriptures that we read, and just kind of have a chance to get together and talk and chat and be in fellowship with one another, and bring people together, because that's what a lot of it is all about. I will say, I don't want to get preachy, but my heart is very heavy with the latest school shooting that has happened in Florida. I feel like I need to touch on this. I'm trying to figure out how it fits into my sermon this Sunday, because somehow this needs to be brought up. And I know people feel very strongly about gun rights and things like that in the Second Amendment. And I will start this by saying that I don't necessarily think that a complete reversal of the Second Amendment is the correct way to go, but I do believe that assault-style military weapons should not be in hands of civilians. You don't need those. You don't need those for self-protection. You don't need those to go hunting. There's no reason for the average citizen to own an assault rifle. And as far as I'm concerned, and this is coming from me being a parent, this is coming from me being a Christian, from me being a pastor. These are not necessarily the beliefs of the United Methodist Church. These are my own beliefs. But I believe that the right of the group is greater than the right of the individual. And I'm going to put it this way because it might resonate more with people. My right to own a military assault rifle is not greater than your child's right to be able to go to school in safety and not be afraid of being killed. I put it that way because I would gladly give up my right to own a gun, to own an assault rifle, to make sure that everyone else's children can go to school without fear of being killed. That shouldn't even be a thing. And I don't understand why we're fighting about this. I believe our children absolutely deserve to be able to go to school without fear. I believe the right of safety supersedes the right to own an assault rifle. That's all that I have for you guys. Thank you so much for sticking around and checking me out. If you like what you saw, please give me a thumbs up. Hit subscribe if you haven't already to be notified when new content is coming out on this channel. This is a bi-weekly podcast, but in the off weeks, I do create a vlog, or what I have dubbed a vlogcast, where I kind of vlog my day-to-day life and put it all together in one kind of compiled vlogcast. So that will be coming next week. And then in 2 weeks' time, I will be back for another regular sit-down podcast. So until I see you again, happy knitting, everyone. Stay safe, stay warm, enjoy the weather. If you like winter, enjoy the Olympics, and have a great week, and I will see you next time. Bye!